It's a wave of the future for Bimini. Nighttime flying introduced to the island. I'm Clint Watson. The story's ahead in the Bahamas tonight.
Also tonight, 4 dead bodies arrive in the capital today, the latest on the investigation.
And a suspect caught red-handed. The Bahamas Tonight starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Everyday.
History touching down in the most northern island in the chain, Bimini, as that island embraces one of the biggest economic recoveries to ever take place in the country. Good evening, I'm Andrew Knowles.
I'm Kish Latterly. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Well, last night's inaugural night flight signifies more than just extended hours of flight operations at the Bimini International Airport, but the arrival of a new day for residents, development, and government and private sector partnership. Senior government officials celebrated the landmark achievement of a dream now made reality. Clint Watson has the story.
That's the roaring sound of a promise fulfilled. Applause by Biminites and the roaring engine of the Prime Minister's jet landing at night. The latest commitment made good by the government as it pumps new life into what once was an ailing Bimini economy. And for residents here, that sound was something only conceptualized in a dream. Now finally, after a century of flying only during daylight, nighttime flying is now a necessity to facilitate a robust tourist product spearheaded by the Genting Group and Resorts World. Genting's chairman KT Lim says the latest airport upgrade now makes the international airport a standout in the region.
The installation of night flight equipment, perimeter fencing, solar powered and LED lighting, and an LED beacon make South Bimini Airport one of the more environmentally friendly airports in this region, and only the third airfield in the Bahamas capable of accommodating takeoffs and landings around the clock.
Resorts World Bimini will use its seaplanes that cannot take off and land after dark to make the night flight airport runs. The expanded business will not only signify more tourists, but increase taxes and landing fees for government. All week, as he addressed local and international conferences, Prime Minister Perry Christie reiterated the significant benefits and importance of public-private sector partnership. He was pleased to once again hail this latest airport and infrastructure upgrade as a product of that partnership. Already the positive effects of Resorts World are evident, and Mr. Christie says this is a time when the Bahamas will experience bounty. He revealed new statistics for Bimini.
In customs revenues, which rose from $3,234,282 for July 2012 to June 2013, $5,104,014. There was an increase in total tourist arrivals in Bimini from 54,036 in 2012 to 104,347 in 2013. Listen, that represents an increase of 93%, making Bimini, when compared with Grand Bahama at 37%, the fastest growing sector in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Employment on the island is at peak levels, the resort alone engaging nearly 800 persons between full-time employment and construction of the new 300-plus room 5-star Marina Hotel set to open later this year and requiring an additional 300 employees. The boom causing government to develop a master plan for the island. Mr. Christie revealing he's met on Thursday with the planners and a modern multi-level government complex will begin later this year.
Whatever is necessary for the people of Bimini will be well thought out, well planned, including housing, being able to ensure that proper housing is available to Biminites and to those who come into work.
In his usual charismatic way, the nation's leader subscribes to the saying, "Prove the doubters wrong," admonishing Biminites to testify of what they're experiencing.
In May 2012, the day after the general election, if you had come here, what you now see didn't exist. But you now see it, you feel it, and you could even taste it.
Now, the first international flight will arrive at 9 p.m. on Friday. The government also plans to introduce nighttime flying to several other family islands. But in the words of Prime Minister Christie, the time is now, it's Bimini's time, and it's here. In Bimini, Clint Watson, ZNS Network News.
Last night's event was a proud moment for Tourism Minister and Member of Parliament for the island, Obi Wilshcombe, and Transport and Aviation Minister Glenys Hannah Martin, who both have worked on the project directly to ensure a successful and speedy implementation. Hannah Martin says to complete the airport upgrades, the runway will be extended to 6,200 feet to accommodate larger jets. The terminal is also being expanded.
The linkages that I have spoken of are expected to lead to greater career and entrepreneurial opportunities for our people. We anticipate indigenous creativity, new niche expressions, especially from our young people, who will be fiercely encouraged to grasp all opportunities that emanate from this new window of opportunity in our economic profile. When these visitors land on beautiful Bimini shores, they will encounter an impressive Bahamian people, the beautiful people of Bimini. And so tonight, we augur a new chapter in aviation in this country.
You cannot move this community unless the people of Bimini move with it. And that is why the plans for the future involve all the people of Bimini. All the people of Bimini must always be involved because it is your island. And they are here as partners and as friends to this island. And they've come to make a contribution. Mr. Katie Lim, we thank you so much because you could have stayed in Malaysia.
Those 4 employees who were terminated and another who was suspended for 10 days without pay from the Gaming Board on Monday returned to work today. President of the Bahamas Public Services Union, John Pinder, told ZNS News he is once again calling for the removal of Chairman of the Gaming Board, Dr. Andre Rollins, whom he feels is micromanaging and wrongfully terminating staff at the board. Pinder explained to us how those employees were terminated during an interview this afternoon.
One of the persons that was terminated because there was a switch in shift. They have a policy in Gaming Board that if you want to change your shift with one of your other colleagues, you must ensure, I think it has to be like the same rank, and also ensure that the supervisor is made abreast of it and they fill out this form. That was done. However, persons were both given the opportunity to work the switch shift, but the chairman saw fit to terminate one and suspend the other for 10 days without pay. We certainly didn't think that penalty matched the crime. And plus it was a violation of our industrial agreement, in addition to the fact that that has always been the practice as relates to colleagues switching shift among themselves. So the shift was covered. We didn't see any need for that.
Now, this isn't the first time Pinder says there have been issues at the Gaming Board. He told us that there are other outstanding issues that need to be addressed as well.
We always have problems with the Gaming Board. They have untimely promotions and unfair promotions, and every time a position becomes available, they don't advertise it in and try to promote people. They keep bringing people in high positions. So there's several problems there with the Gaming Board. It has always been that way. As a matter of fact, there are persons who are still waiting to be paid some outstanding incremental pays that they should have received this week, and they have not received it as yet. A lot of them who worked holidays last year have not received any holiday pay. And so we have issues there, but I believe the minister is doing his best to address them.
The badly burnt bodies of 3 men and a female arrived in the capital today after they were discovered on Anguilla Key last week.
Cleopatra Murphy reports on the results of a joint operation between the police and defense forces.
The badly burnt and decomposed bodies of 3 men and 1 woman believed to be Haitian nationals were transported off the Defense Forces HMBS Nassau shortly before 10 Friday morning and loaded onto stretchers before being driven away. The bodies discovered by fishermen on Anguilla Key 2 weeks ago were recovered Thursday morning through a joint operation between the Royal Bahamas Police Force and Defense Force.
We arrived at the quay shortly after sunrise yesterday morning, and within minutes we were able to locate the bodies based on the odor that was being emitted, in which the police then conducted their crime management and investigation. The bodies were brought on board HMBS Nassau, escorted here to the capital, and turned over this morning.
Defense Force Lieutenant Commander Raymond King says they suspect foul play.
The bodies were badly burnt. It appears as though the individuals used tires to try to disintegrate the bodies.
Defense Force Commodore Roderick Bowe confirmed to the media last week that bodies had been discovered. Lieutenant King, who acknowledged that the recovery took a while, admitted the difficulties locating them.
I was briefed that the police had made an effort to using the helo to search the key initially, which uncovered nothing. But we conducted a more thorough search yesterday and were able to locate the bodies. Usually the recovery process should have happened a lot sooner, but we had some logistic issues in us being able to get underway to return to the key and to carry out a more intensive search.
Lieutenant King believes at this point there is nothing to indicate how the individuals got to the key. Cleopatra Murphy, ZNS Network News.
Their goal is to grant pardons to inmates at Her Majesty's prisons. The Advisory Committee on the Prerogative of Mercy recently held their first meeting, and as Janaea Noel Ferguson tells us, they've got a lot of work ahead of them.
Minister of National Security Dr. Bernard Nottage chairs the Advisory Committee for the Prerogative of Mercy. That committee meets twice a year to consider pardon for inmates here at Her Majesty's prison. Dr. Nottage telling our ZNS News that a meeting was recently held to consider those pardons.
The Prerogative of Mercy Committee did meet for the first time this year, 2 weeks ago. We did consider cases that were placed before us, and we are working on the solutions to those, or the answers to those requests that have been made of the committee.
The committee is made up of 5 members: Attorney General Alison Maynard Gibson, Dr. Nelson Clark, Reverend Timothy Stewart, Sylvia Seeley, and Pastor Tom Roberts. They can decide to grant a convicted person pardon conditionally or otherwise, or substitute a lesser prison sentence. Nottage says the committee is reviewing a significant number of cases.
The particular meeting that we had, we sat all day and considered about 15 cases.
The committee also has the power to reverse a death sentence, and written petitions should be received in sufficient time prior to a meeting of the Advisory Committee. 8 persons were sentenced to death between 2008 and 2010, and most recently Coffee Goodman was handed down the death sentence for the murder of 8-year-old Marco Archer. Nottage, however, noted that of the many cases being reviewed, he could not say which decisions have been finalized.
And so when we have something to announce, we will announce it.
Janaea Noel Ferguson, ZNS Network News.
Still to come tonight, a man learns his fate on a murder charge in court today.
And the king of talk radio returns home. You're watching The Bahamas Tonight.
This segment of the news is brought to you by Shell Quality Fuels.